Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw Jinu from K-pop Demon Hunters. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the head. An easy way to draw a circle is to first sketch a couple of guidelines. Draw a vertical line to determine the circle's height. The length of this line will determine the size of the circle. Make a small mark halfway on the line. Make the mark longer to create a horizontal line. You're basically drawing a big plus sign. Make small marks on the tips of the vertical line to indicate the top and bottom of the circle. Make a couple more small marks on the tips of the horizontal line to indicate the sides of the circle. Draw the marks so that they're equal in distance to the middle of the plus sign. Connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video as you follow along to draw at your own pace. Extend the vertical line downward so that it's under the circle. Make a small mark at the bottom to indicate the edge of the lower jaw. The distance between this mark and the bottom edge of the circle should be about half the circle's length. Connect the small mark to the circle using sloping lines to finish the guide for the lower jaw. Bend the tops of the lines to create a square jaw. Make the bottom part of the guide flat for the chin. Inside the circle, close to the bottom, draw a long curved line as a construction guide. This guide will help you place the facial features later. Draw the right tip of the line higher up than the left. Draw a long curved vertical line across the entire head for another construction guide. Pay attention to the placement of this line within the head. Curve the top of the line to the left. On the right side of the head, draw a short curved line as a guide for the ear. Below the head, draw two sloping lines as guides for the neck. These lines should be pretty long in relation to the head. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, draw a small diamond-like shape for the first eye. Place the eye on the bottom right side of the plus sign. Pay attention to the size of the eye in relation to the head. The shape should be long and the sides pointy. To the left of the vertical construction guide, draw another small diamond-like shape for the other eye. Draw this eye a bit smaller because the head is turned. Make the top edges of the eyes thick and dark for the eyelashes. Don't draw every individual eyelash, just draw a thick line at the top. Inside the eyes, draw small circles for the irises. Place the irises close to the right edges of the eyes. Draw tiny circles inside each iris for highlights. In the middle of the irises, draw small circles and shade them in for the pupils. Don't overlap the tiny highlight circles as you shade the pupils. Above the eye on the right, draw a long thin shape for the eyebrow. Draw the right tip of the eyebrow higher up than the left tip. Don't draw the eyebrow too high up above the eye. Make the right tip of the eyebrow thin and pointy. Draw another thin shape above the eye on the left for the other eyebrow. Make this eyebrow a bit shorter because the head is turned. Below the eye on the left, draw a vertical line for the nose. Place the nose to the left of the vertical construction guide. At the bottom, bend the line to the right to create the tip of the nose. Draw the bottom of the nose slightly lower than the bottom edge of the circle. To the right, draw a tiny curved line for the nostril. Below the nose, draw a sloping horizontal line for the mouth. Don't draw this line too long. On top of the mouth, draw a short angled line for the top lip. Draw two peaks on the top lip. Below that, draw a longer curved line for the lower lip. Pay attention to the distance between the lower lip and the chin. Darken the guide at the bottom to create the lower half of the head. Make the left side curved for the cheek. Bend the right side of the line for the strong jaw. Darken the curved line on the right side to create the ear. Draw a couple of curved lines inside the ear to give it structure. It's okay if these lines aren't perfect. Above the eye on the left, draw a vertical line for the forehead. Draw a long vertical line across the forehead for the first part of the hair. The bottom of this line should be between the eyebrows. Draw a shorter line at the top. At the bottom, draw short angled lines for the tips of the hair. Draw a long line on the right side to create a rectangular shape. Don't draw every individual hair strand, just draw clumps of hair across the head. Farther to the right, draw a line that curves toward the ear. To the left of the ear, draw a small triangular shape for the sideburn. On top of the head, draw a line that curves to the right for the top of the hair. Bend the line to the right to create a big clump of hair. Draw a long sloping line for the right side of the hair. Follow the edge of the initial circle as you draw this line. At the bottom, curve the lines to the left toward the ear. Add a few short angled lines within the shape for tips of more clumps of hair. On the top left side, draw a long angled line for the other side of the parted hair. Draw this section of hair around the line for the forehead. At the bottom, draw a series of short angled lines for the tips of the clumps of hair. To the left, draw a vertical line for the outer edge of the hair. Curve this line up and to the right to create the top edge of the hair. The top part of this section of the hair should be made up of short curved lines. Darken the lines below the head to create the neck. Under the neck on the right side, draw a long angled line for the first part of the shirt's collar. Draw a couple more lines on the right side to create a rectangular shape. On the left side of the neck, draw another rectangular shape for the other side of the shirt's collar. Draw a couple of lines on the left side for the folded collar. Make the final lines darker than the guides. And that's it for Jinu. Now go over the final lines with permanent ink, erase the guides, and color your drawing. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long, but make sure that you go over your final lines slowly and carefully to avoid any accidents. For more tutorials like this one, please visit easydrawingtutorials.com. Let me know in the comments what else you want to see me draw. Don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.